capabilities. Currently, this is algae blooms and algae toxins are an emerging issue. This is the first time we have ever detected it inside of our water system. So I have asked our lab manager to give us to do some research as to what it would cost to bring that kind of capability into our laboratory, and I expect to have that information hopefully by tomorrow to see just kind of just level of cost and effort. It's not just the equipment, but it's training and certifying the staff to be able to do that. If it's reasonably priced, we'll move ahead with the purchase. If it's significantly more expensive, and I don't know what those numbers are at this point, then we might have to do other provisions, including continuing the contract. But it is something that we're looking at.
What's the threshold at which point you would have to go to council for approval for such a lab?
Well, we have the budget, so I don't have to go to, it's, if it's in the, small thousands, it's something that we can absolutely do within our budget. If it starts to get into the tens or the hundreds of thousands, then that's something that we'll need to discuss with the city manager and the council to budget. But if it's under 10,000, we can probably make that happen pretty quickly.
Peter, there have been issues that the city of Portland has dealt with, State Parks and Rec deals with, OHA deals with. Did anybody talk to them about where they get their water tested and if they could test Salem's water?
My understanding is that this kind of testing is not available on the West Coast, and that's why we send it off to the contract lab to be able to get it turned around in the time that we're getting, in the time frame that we're getting it turned around. So municipalities have labs or contract labs. Our lab does many, many tests. This is just a highly specialized test that we have not been prepared to handle.
So OHA and others don't do these tests?
That is.
So let me clarify that. When we go out for general contract for this type of analysis, we do a special request for a special turnaround time to make sure that if there are indeed issues with results, that we can receive those results as soon as possible, which is that 72-hour turnaround that we've requested through the contract. There are labs that can do this work that cannot meet our 72-hour contractual obligation, and so therefore we're not able to meet the requirements of that bid process. We're not talking typically about, like, in the event of this week, we're talking about 15, 20 samples coming in daily. These samples take a long time. They have to be able to have the lab staffing and size to be able to manage that workload and turn those results around to us within that designated time frame. So while there might be other labs that can run the analysis, part of it is the amount of workload that we send into them, as well as their ability to turn those samples around to us within that short time frame.
So I'm more confused now. So this is based on previous bids. Nobody went and said, we have a potential crisis. Can you do it? Did people send out to 5 labs and say, this is so big, we're so concerned? I mean, you've got Starbucks that's closed throughout Salem. You've got a bunch of restaurants that are closed. The community uproar that's happening.
So we are utilizing our contract lab for that will be able to get us these results. We sent them off Tuesday to them. We will have results tomorrow. I talked to the lab manager today. They're putting every ounce of manpower into those samples to be able to get us results by tomorrow. They understand the importance of receiving this information. They understand that our community is under a do not drink and that affects our vulnerable populations. So they're well aware of what is happening here, and they're committed to getting us the information as soon as possible. This is an expensive feat. This is a large workload that we're sending to them, and we're in the midst. Why it happened over a holiday weekend. We're getting the results on Saturday and Sunday. It is a difficult task to try to try to contact folks from any agency on Memorial Day weekend to be able to track them down, get them information, and tried to figure out who else we could send these labs to. We did coordinate with the Oregon Health Authority that was able to work with the lab that they send samples out to, which is Lake Superior. We pulled duplicate samples and we sent to their lab as well, in addition to the laboratory that we sent to. So we did send out to an additional lab to confirm those results from our lab as well. So I can understand the frustration that there is in getting this delay of results, but unfortunately, we have to send these through a certified lab, and